How is everyone doing today? And welcome to my channel. This is an educational channel, and we check into great theories, concepts, and discoveries that you may not know about because they require great amounts of digging and they are obscure, arcane, um, but they are impactful, especially in terms of improving your mental, spiritual, and physical health. And this is a segment we call Your Blind Side. This is another contribution to the Patriot movement, hopefully to alert some alert patriots out there that there are certain things that they need to um, be aware of. They might be in their blind spot or, coming from their blind side. Um, and we have talked a lot about um, some of the religious psyops that have occurred and that are going to be occurring. Some rug pulls coming on the way. The Flavians, the dynasty of Caesars, who are the true authors of the New Testament and constructed the New Testament of the Bible as a psychological operation against the Jews. And for all of you diggers out there who know what psychological operations look like from studying, the ones in the 20th and 21st centuries, will be able to see that this is an obvious psychological operation, but only back in the first century. And the key to kind of discovering that is to check out the works of Josephus, who's supposed to be the historian who documents um, Christianity. One of um, the earliest and the main corroborator of the existence of Jesus. However, um, most Christians will be able to cite the name of Josephus as being a corroborating witness to the existence of Jesus. But if they actually read the author that they're citing, they would recognize that A, he was not a witness. He came along 40 or 50 years later and wasn't even born at the time of the alleged events that occurred in the New Testament, but also that his book, War of the Jews, in 7 volumes, is actually powerful evidence against the existence of Jesus because when set side by side with the Gospels, especially the book of Luke, it can be easily determined that they were written by the same people. Josephus, whoever Josephus was, what we do know is that Josephus was writing from Caesar's palace, and these things were being issued with the full throated endorsement of the emperors. Um, but whoever Josephus was, I think, kind of like an army of a think tank full of Roman intellectuals, including possibly somebody named Josephus, but maybe not, um, that they are the authors of the New Testament. Um, the the level of coincidence and correspondence between the New Testament and um, Josephus's War of the Jews is overwhelming, um, obvious, and um, prolific, and it is also kind of uh, dripping with the fingerprints. The Romans wanted you to eventually find out about this. they left their fingerprints on it, and they left their kind of uh, uh, signature of mockery, derision, and ridicule on it as well. It's pretty clear that they had a certain amount of hatred for the Jewish zealots, because that's who this was targeted to, was the Jewish zealots. And you can see this again in the Romans' signature. This is exactly what the Romans would do, and this is exactly what the Romans had done and were doing, because not only did they run a psychological operation against the Jewish zealots that turned out to be the Gospels, which they backdated by 40 years, but they also ran a parallel psychological operation against the Jewish Pharisees, um, you know, uh, that resulted in what is known as rabbinical Judaism. And the psyop that they ran against the Pharisees was parallel to the psyop that they ran against the Jewish zealots that resulted in the Gospels. The story of Josephus, the so-called autobiography of Josephus, um, is running parallel with the autobiography of Yohanan ben Zakkai, who was the person who founded this campus for the study of the Jewish scriptures that eventually evolved into not only the uh, rabbinical Judaism, but also the Talmud, Midrash. Um, and say what you want to about those commentaries. Um, they, the thing about the Pharisees at this point is, the idea. Now, this was given by a land grant by Caesar to Yohanan ben Zakkai, but these people in the town that wrote in the Talmud in the centuries after this occurred in the late first century, they were the custodians of a legend or a story or history of, they knew that Christianity was a fraud. They were witnesses to watching Christianity being created by the Romans. And so they've left evidence of that in their uh, Talmud and their Midrash and in their families, passed down all the way to now. There are apparently, Jewish families that have been um, keeping the score on the true authorship of the New Testament. And that is the name of the pamphlet that Abelard Reuchlin wrote. And that is not exactly sure, the level of um, legitimacy, but he claims that um, that was something that he learned from various Jewish uh, rabbis who informed him about the true nature there. So, God damn it. Who is it?